5 shot, 1 dead, and tonight a neighborhood is grieving after one of the worst Milwaukee shooting incidents this year.
Yeah, body droppers, man, for real, how many beaters, man? Holla at us, man. You know, you heard them. How many beaters?
Welcome back to another episode of Tru-Street TV, where we cover everything street related. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, and let's get right into it. Today's story brings us back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, specifically the north side. As we know, Milwaukee produces hustlers and gangsters from every side of the city, but the north side is known for being the most gutted and dangerous in the city.
If you was on the north side, that's really the trenches over there, so it's kind of a little rougher. Like, you would be like, man, they're a little rougher on that end of town.
That brings us to the man we're here to talk about today. 29-year-old Gwapo Chapo, the Milwaukee native, hails from the north side hood off 12th and Atkinson, home to Swindle Gang. Located in the Arlington Heights neighborhood, Milwaukee is a very segregated city, and this neighborhood is an extreme example of that, with over 90% of the residents in Arlington Heights being African American. It's also a very low-income neighborhood. Arlington Heights itself didn't make the top 10 most dangerous neighborhoods in Milwaukee, but it is placed right in the middle of the most dangerous hoods in the Mills, such as Franklin Heights and the North Division. But if you let anybody from Atkinson tell you it is the most dangerous hood in the Mill, which it actually may be, Chapo was well known in this hood, being active in the streets since a young kid, and like many youth growing up in these dangerous neighborhoods, Chop didn't exactly have a chance at a normal life. Gwapo is one of the pioneers of the Milwaukee sound, as he was one of the first rappers rapping like this in the Mill. He began rapping around 12 years old and dropped his first song with Munch Lauren and Bankhead in 2011. Called Hold On Wait. They also released Male Jayer, which Chapo made the beat for it. Today you would call that kind of beat a low end beat. Put your right hand up and then your left hand next, and then you swing both hips and do the low end. But Chapo was making those beats as far back as 2011, before the term low end was even used in Milwaukee like that. Chapo's older brother is a well-known Milwaukee rapper named Looney Baby. This duo was well known on the north side, Chop known particularly for robbing in his teenage years. Anybody walking down Atkinson was subject to pay dues. This will backfire on Chapo, as it was a Saturday, September 29, 2012, when a group of young men from Chicago were on Atkinson and would catch Chop by himself and run his pockets, not knowing they were in the heart of this young man's hood. Chop was around 17 at this time and Looney was 19. Gwapo would return home and tell his older brother Looney what had just happened. The unsuspecting group of men were at Atkinson Park playing basketball, not realizing they just made a huge mistake. Around 7 p.m., a group of men would walk up to the park and begin shooting at the crowd. 5 people were hit by the gunfire, and 22-year-old Alexander Cross was pronounced dead shortly after.
News from Milwaukee, where 5 people have been shot in a county park.
This happened at Atkinson Park, which is at 9th and Atkinson.
It was just before 7 o'clock this evening when he and a group of some other people were playing basketball here, when one man fired into the crowd, and we're told by Milwaukee police at least 20 bullets or casings were found at the scene.
Looney would be arrested a few months after for this murder, being identified by a witness. Looney would say nothing to the police and take the case to trial. The star witness wouldn't show up and the prosecutor's case would quickly fall apart. Looney's lawyer would motion for a mistrial, which was granted by the judge. The DA, now knowing he wasn't going to be able to convict Looney of murder, would offer him a deal, including time served with a substantial battery charge, which he accepted in 2014. Chapo would release his first video when he collabed with T Glazed to drop Shooters in August of 2016. T is known as the biggest videographer in Milwaukee by far. If you go back to his earliest videos, Chop was the first music videos that he dropped that went crazy in the Mill, especially Pressure, which he collabed with Chicken P on. This song was huge in the city and Chicken's first song. They would drop Weed on This back in February of 2017, which was also making huge waves in the Mill. Gwapo deserves a lot of credit for not only influencing Chicken to rap, but also influencing the Milwaukee sound and the whole rap style heavily. He will go to jail shortly after this song and serve around a year for a high speed, getting out early 2018 and going straight to work. Chop would start the year off strong, dropping 32 bars, which sits at almost 500,000 views today. He would then, not even 2 weeks later, release All Racks with his older brother Looney. This was a huge song at the time and sits at almost 2 million views today. He would also collab on a song with Babyface Ray around the same time. Chapo collabed with many artists outside the mill, such as Rio the Young OG, which we just did a video on Rio. So if you haven't seen that yet, I'd advise you to go check it out. He also has features with other Detroit artists like Skilla Baby, Peasy, and V's. He also has a feature with Tech, and he was also locked in with Wife and Lucci, and is still locked in with the Wife and Camp to this day.
Shit, Lucci and Looney, they got a video dropper, right? Like what? How that shit come about?
I fuck with Lucci for almost a year now.
Yeah.
But see, you know, I called him one day like, man, let's do a tape together. Me, you, and my brother, woo woo. Throw a nigga in the game type shit.
Yeah. Chop would also drop a song with Jig in September of 2018.
Could've flooded it out. I left it playing, should've played on Meaning Society, the way I touch cash.
2019 also had its share of big songs such as Raise the Prices and Bum Bum. His brother Looney would drop Drill in 2019, and a year later King Von would hop on the remix in 2020. Chapo and Looney were really in the streets their whole life, going in and out of jail. They would get raided by HIDTA at the end of the year. HIDTA is a drug task force well known in Milwaukee for going after all drug dealers. HIDTA would raid their apartment, finding almost $60,000 in cash, guns, and drugs. Chop would duck these charges as he had a $40,000 lawyer, but Looney would cop out to 7 years in prison, and he'll be out in a few years. Chop is still dropping music to this day, and dropped a song in 2021 called Started This Shit, which he says in the beginning of many of his songs because he really is one of the pioneers of the Milwaukee music, and he did start this shit.
Chop, man, you understand me? I started this shit, man, y'all know that shit, man.
He also has a mixtape coming in October, so be on the lookout for that. If you enjoy this kind of content, hit that like, subscribe button as it really helps the channel. Also, hit that notification button as we are dropping every week. Comment who'd you like me to cover next. Peace.
Even niggas that I robbed back then, they gon' respect it. Even niggas that I robbed back then, they gon' respect it.